Hey, you guys, welcome to a midweek madness Wednesday episode of Dangerous Conversations with me and my son, James. What's up, James?
How's it going?
And today, I don't know what the topic's going to be about, but James has chosen something that is important to him, stuff he and his friends are talking about, and I want to get in on the conversation. So what are we talking about, James?
Today, we're going to be talking about artificial intelligence, AI, and the role it plays in our lives and some of the really cool new things that it's able to do, and also kind of just the things that we have to question and wonder if this is a good thing or a bad thing.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm so curious too. And I know that guys like Elon Musk who own AI companies are warning that it could be the very thing that could take us out. But he says not to worry about it. He thinks it can be programmed for good and not only for evil.
Yeah, I have a clip from Elon we're actually going to be playing.
Okay, cool. Let's get into it. What are some of AI's capabilities?
Okay, one of the things is China is using AI facial recognition to track 1.4 billion of its people and see what they're doing. And they're putting their behavior and scoring it into a app, and it's called
it gives them a social score?
Social credit system. So the better socially you are, the higher your point will be.
So they're basically watching you and spying on you every moment of your day.
Yeah, take a look at this video.
Everywhere she goes, Ouyang Haoyu is followed. What she buys, how she behaves, is tracked and scored to show how responsible and trustworthy she is. It's called the social credit system, and in one version now being tested, a person's reputation is scored on a scale of 350 to 950. And Haoyu, with a good score of 752, is okay with it. In fact, most people are. The government also has pilot projects. In one, citizens are required to do hours of unpaid work to get benefits. And scores are docked for things like littering, a messy yard, gossip, even jaywalking. Video of offenders is shown on the local news. And information collectors like Zhou Ai-ni are paid to report on their neighbors. Her quota, 10 entries a month.
Wow.
I know.
This is insane. I mean, the idea is not new, but the technology has allowed controlling governments to do it so much more effectively, and that is get the people to rat out their neighbors in exchange for food, in exchange for education. I mean, this is the exact reason why the colonies fought against the British Empire, is to get away from this kind of absolute control by a government. I mean, if the British Empire had AI back then, no doubt they would have used it. Everybody would have used it. Now it's just ability on steroids.
Yeah, and it reminds me so much of the book 1984 by George Orwell.
Yes.
With Big Brother and Newspeak and all of...
Exactly.
And the government literally having your neighbors and children and family rat on you to the government for, just like what the guy said in the video, for safety. It's going to make you safer.
It's like Ronald Reagan said, the 9 or 10 most dangerous words you could ever hear is, I'm from the government and I'm here to help you.
Yeah.
Safety, I think it was Benjamin Franklin or one of those guys, one of the founding fathers, said if whoever exchanges his liberty for safety is not worthy of either. So this is a huge big deal. Can I share this quick little story about one of our neighbors in California? He was a Russian Jewish man who believed that he had come to heaven when he came to the United States of America, because in Russia, things were so locked down by the government that he would get a new car because his business was doing well, but he had to get the same model and the same make and the same color every year. Why? Because if he got a new color car or an updated version of a new model, he knew that his neighbors would rat him out to the government. Or if he got a new flat screen TV, he had to put it in the trunk of his car, drive it into his garage, and close the door before he opened it up, because the neighbors would say, wait a minute, this isn't equal for all of us. And they actually would get points for ratting him out. That's crazy. I talked to a Chinese national who said, I was not raised with Chinese culture in China. I was raised with communist culture. I was raised a communist, not Chinese, right? You got the old ancient Chinese cultures where they've got, the food and the dance and the culture and the philosophy. He said, that's all gone. In China, it's Communist Party. And so he said, I wasn't raised with bad morals. I was raised with no morals. It's just obedience to the government Communist Party.
Yeah.
Scary stuff.
And that's the CCP. It's the Chinese Communist Party. Like, they're open about it.
And there's college students on some of these radical leftist campuses who advocate for communism today. They say communism, right? It's got that same root word, community. Community. Who's not for community, right? It's all about the togetherness. It's all about the people. No, controlled by scary people at the top.
And public shaming as well. How somebody who is gossiping, somebody who is jaywalking, will be publicly shamed on the street corners by their peers.
Yeah.
To show that they're lower in status because of these things. Take a look at this video. It's another video that's a lady who was in China took this video, and it just showed pictures of people who were caught jaywalking with their name, where they're from, all of these things, and their identification cards as well.
So we're in Xi'an, and we're seeing this screen where people who cross jaywalking
are being displayed on a public street corner. Like, there's the guy, there's his identifying information, and there's a picture of him jaywalking for everyone to see.
Yeah.
To scold him, punish him, shame him. So let me play devil's advocate, right? Let's just see if we can't get to the root of this. Why is that wrong? I mean, people shouldn't jaywalk, James. They shouldn't litter, and they shouldn't gossip. Even God says, you should not gossip. Don't be a tattletale. So what's wrong with publicly putting their picture up on a billboard? If we could find ways to keep people from breaking the law or strongly discourage them from breaking the law, sounds like we should do that, right? I mean, I'm all for people not aborting babies, not murdering other people, stealing their stuff. I'm all for that. Let's discourage as much of that as possible. But there's a balance here, and this is always the tension, because if you give the government total capability to stop all crime, that's actually very, very dangerous, because what happens when the government goes bad and they themselves are plundering all of your property and taking away all of your liberties? This is what you have in China. This is what you have in communist, fascist countries with dictators. China may do a very good job of discouraging people from breaking the law, but that doesn't mean that it's a society where humanity is flourishing and families are happy and healthy. Just go ask all of the people who are desperately trying to get out of countries like that and come to the United States of America, where we may have more crime, but what we have is freedom. And so that's the balance. The less government control we want, the more self-control we have to have. And that's why our founders said the only way that the United States of America and the concept of liberty works is if we govern ourselves under heaven's rules of right and we love our neighbor as ourselves. In China, they don't care if you believe in the 10 Commandments or in God. They just withhold food or housing or education and bury you into shame and guilt if you don't toe the line. So you can pick your system. We could go that way, but I don't think anyone wants to live in George Orwell's nightmare like people in these types of countries are.
I agree. I totally agree. This is another clip. This is from Elon Musk, and he is warning about AI and how he's saying that nukes are less of a threat and nuclear war is less of a threat than AI itself. And this is coming from Elon Musk, who has a humongous AI company.
Right.
Take a look.
I think the danger of AI is much greater than the danger of nuclear warheads by a lot. And nobody would suggest that we allow anyone to just build nuclear warheads if they want. That would be insane. And mark my words, AI is far more dangerous than nukes. Far.
Wow.
That's Elon Musk, okay? I'm going to show you some of the capabilities that AI has in photo and video generation.
Okay.
Ingalls friends.
This is all, by the way, completely fake. The voices, the images...
Even the girl right in front?
Yes, all of this is completely
These are not
generated
real
by a
people.
computer. It's not a real person. It doesn't have a fingerprint. It's not real in any way.
Okay.
Do you hear the muffled sounds outside? Every tiny sound is amplified.
She's in the
You guys
Trojan
will not
horse.
believe this itinerary. We are literally walking through the Red Sea, totally unexpected. Talk about a unique travel experience. Epic.
Hey, fellow Tratwives. My strong Romulus has such a grand vision. But a man's success starts with a well-kept home.
The Persians are outnumbering us, but my testosterone game is strong. My new Thermopylae test boost gives me peak male performance. Order now. Link below. Stay strong.
Okay, the IDs of March just got real. Caesar was stabbed by his own squad. Hashtag Caesargate. Was it Brutus?
That girl is not real.
None of this is
Oh
real.
my god, it's a boy!
She's not real.
Yay!
This is Mary and
Stable,
Joseph.
No hospital vibes. Hashtag unplanned but blessed.
Are you kidding me? My vacay is officially ruined. No evacuation protocols. And how am I getting this ash off my expensive sandals?
Salve Roma!
Wake up, sheeple. They say it's rats and fleas. Don't buy it. This plague is too organized, too widespread.
Yo, world! Direct to India challenge just took a wild detour. Found land, but pretty sure this ain't Goa. Hashtag wrong turn. What do you guys think? I can't believe I'm actually up here.
Choo-choo, besties. Just got a demo
That guy's
of the
not
very
real.
first steam-powered train. The raw power, 3 horsepower. Mind blown.
See, I mean, why would people even bother to make movies anymore the old-fashioned way with real people and cameras and lighting and all of that? You could just do this.
This is called Google VO, and it's a new version that just came out. There's also been in Hollywood a big strike with the actors because they're seeing that their expertise in their entire business could go out the window very quickly with the progression that AI is moving in video making.
Yeah.
And they're not going to be needed at all, and they're going to be better actors that are not real,
Yeah,
and they don't have to pay anything.
Right, and then they don't have attitudes, and they don't have to deal with time constraints or meal breaks or pay them.
Yeah.
So they get to keep all the profits and not deal with the attitudes.
Exactly.
It's a computer. And listen, I'm an actor. I'm not just upset about this and concerned because it would put me out of an acting job. My own acting ability will do that. I'm concerned because of the ability to deceive people.
Yeah.
What happens when an AI video comes out of the president of the United States or the leader of Russia or North Korea or Iran declaring war on another country?
Or calling for political violence, or calling for like action through the people that is not actually the president of the United States. And then it becomes so good and so believable that it's indistinguishable between a real video and an AI video.
Yeah.
That truth goes out the window.
Yeah, and pretty soon you can't believe anything anymore. They've even got holograms that I've seen that put a person in front of you. I've seen this at a church where a pastor friend of mine was preaching at a satellite campus, and then there's some other church building miles and miles away with a hologram of him standing on stage preaching it. And that was before AI was doing what it's doing now. Imagine if you can't even distinguish between a real person in front of you and an AI-generated hologram.
Crazy. And speaking of truth and where we're getting our news and what's real and what's not, AI, I'm going to show you this video. This is news reporters that are not real reporting on fake news. Take a look.
Here are today's top news. To ensure only the best words are used, White House speech announces new thesaurus with all synonyms replaced by Trump. In shocking speech, White House announces plan to replace all U.S. ambassadors with highly opinionated game show hosts for more entertaining diplomacy.
The White House unveils Truth GPT, an AI that rewrites all social media posts globally to reflect undisputed facts up tremendously.
White House announces AI will now write all press briefings to ensure 100% factual incomprehensibility. White House speech reveals plan to resolve international trade deficits by challenging other nations to high-stakes Mar-a-Lago croquet matches.
In a bid to combat misinformation, AI content generators begin watermarking all human-created text with potentially unreliable content warnings.
Mass amnesia event wipes all knowledge of political parties. Voters now choosing candidates based on most trustworthy aura.
White House declares war on excessive bureaucratic pauses, mandates all government employees speak 25% faster.
To cut red tape, White House executive order replaces Federal Register with a single Daily X post. Here's what's up.
It's funny, some of the things that they're saying, but they look exactly like an actual news reporter, and they're reporting completely fake news. How large of the percent of the population do they just watch the news and believe what they're told?
Yeah.
Like if this all goes to plan, if this all goes to pass, where news is now we don't know what's true and what's not true, how are we going to know anything's true besides in-person connections and in-person relationships?
Yeah, I agree. I think at the end of the day, God gives us insight. He's working all things together for good. He was not surprised by AI. He was not surprised by the Tower of Babel. He was not surprised by Pharaoh. He was not surprised by indomitable global forces against the truth and against his people and his kingdom. And he has always smashed them. I am all for using technology for the good. James, is there anything you can show me that is actually AI for the good?
Yeah, there's a couple things that I was looking up and I found. They've been able to use AI technology by testing blood samples and x-rays for women in mammograms, trying to find breast cancer and just preventing it in the future. And through AI, they've been able to see things and see early cancer cells that doctors have missed in their examinations. Cool. And they can do it with a 90 to 100% accuracy rate.
Wow.
Depending on the type of cancer.
That's great.
So that's one thing. Preventing cancer in people and using that for medical
early
procedures. Another thing that AI can do is in real time translate different languages so that it can bridge two cultures together so that they can have conversations and dialogue and they can share with each other and share knowledge, which is great. I think that we just have to think of one thing, and that is, what are we using AI for? Are we using it for the betterment of people, humanity, or are we using it as a hindrance to them and taking away the beauty of life?
Yeah. And who's we? I mean, I'm not in charge of AI. I don't get to decide about that. It's the people who own the AI companies.
Yeah.
I remember Elon was talking about his own company and the prospect of selling it. He's very concerned that it gets into the wrong set of hands because the wrong guy putting in the wrong inputs can head AI to be a good AI or a bad AI. It's not neutral. There is no such thing as neutrality.
No, which is why regulations on AI are actually really important.
But who does the regulating? That's the other thing. Who does the regulating?
Exactly, and I think that
maybe AI could help us figure out who the best regulator is.
I don't think
maybe
that'd be a good
AI will
idea.
regulate itself. That's our No.
And I think the answer, once again, because all truth has to come from one place, and that is the Bible, is in the Bible. I found a verse that was talking about this.
Awesome.
And it's 1 Peter 4, verse 10. As each of us has received a gift, use it to serve one another as good stewards of God's varied grace. When I hear that, I think of AI is a gift. It's a gift given to us to help streamline processes, to make really cool images, to move forward in life. We have the responsibility to be good stewards of that, to essentially make AI be to the benefit of humans in the way that God said we should act towards others.
Yep, I think that's exactly right.
Loving our neighbors as ourselves, and treating people with kindness, in building them up. But if we use AI in the other ways, it's doing the opposite of what God says.
Do you think it's a legitimate comparison to say guns are the same way? that guns are actually a good idea because this allows, a skinny, weak guy to have just as much ability as a really jacked, strong guy to defend his family against evil, because the gun is the great equalizer. And as a tool to protect the good, it's a great idea. That's the Second Amendment. That's what it's all about. But guns in the wrong hands then become destructive.
Exactly.
And AI is similar to that.
Yeah. And I think that's the other thing, is that we as Christians need to be aware of what's happening. Don't just, in the metaphor that you used, pretend like guns are a bad thing.
Yeah.
But use technology and like a gun in the way that is to foster the blessing of other people.
Yep, that's right. Some people might say, well, if you're good people don't use guns. Okay, well then if good people don't use guns, who are the only people that have the guns now?
The bad people.
The bad people. Well, and they're going to way overpower you. And, they say, yeah, well, that's okay. We'll just trust God, and we're not going to overcome evil with more evil. We overcome evil with good. Yeah, the good looks like a sheriff. The good looks like the police officer and the judge, and you protect one another. Now, at some point, guns and laws and sheriffs can't solve the problem. They'll create their own sets of new problems. The only thing that can solve the problem deep down at the root is, of course, the power of God working in people's hearts. Mm-hmm. So it's very interesting to me to see how this whole AI thing turns out. I don't know. But we have tons of responsibility in it, that's for sure. With all this talk about artificial intelligence, do you ever feel like pop culture is feeding you and your kids a bunch of artificial unintelligence? Like telling men that they can become girls and that kids ought to be able to change their gender without their parents' knowledge? It's insanity. How do we right the ship? How do we straighten out what is bent and twisted, particularly among men and their sons? Well, I want to tell you about Red Truck Men. It's an awesome organization run by a good friend of mine. And Red Truck Men creates a culture of honor among men, where they gather over breakfast, they open the Word of God, they talk about what it means to be a husband and a father. And this is for a generation of guys my age, older and younger, sons and grandsons. They are even expanding into Red Truck Future Men. And this is all about community service. This is about family. This is about faith and honor. I've seen them in action. They're phenomenal, and you should be a part of it. Or if there's a man in your life who you want to connect with a band of brothers, send them over to redtruckmen.org. That's redtruckmen.org. Join one of these breakfasts. Check it out. Experience the magic. Maybe you want to start a breakfast in your town like I do, or you just want to be able to know what they're doing so that you can pray for their efforts and you can support them through donations. redtruckmen.org. All right, well, that is the end of our episode this Wednesday. I hope to see you on Friday. Thanks for joining us on this conversation about AI, James.
Yeah, thanks for watching. Make sure to like and subscribe and hit the notification bell so you're notified when the next episode comes out. And make sure to leave us a comment, and we might read that in a future episode. Have a good day.